Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's WK Dad. Just want to send my condolences to everybody out in the Midwest where I left. Upper Midwest, freezing temperatures. It's 45, 46 degrees here in Phoenix, but it's like negative 45 degrees in Canada and upper Midwest. That kind of shit. That's insane temperature. On a Yu-Gi-Oh related note, I want to give my condolences to the players who haven't realized this yet, but we're looking at 3-month formats. March 1st, another new format. And if you consider the fact that in the past, when a set comes out, in this instance, it'll be Legacy of the Valiant, comes out in a week or so. It usually takes people maybe a month to get all the cards necessarily they need to upgrade their deck. So that puts you in late February. And then by that time it's already March, and you have no time to test. So let's say you do get all the cards early. You burn a little bit of cash, burn a good deal of your trade bait, play the deck for a month or two, and then it's time to start all over again because the ban list is right around the corner. I mean, this is kind of good because, it prevents the formats from getting stale, but at the same time, it really lowers your chances of acquiring the cards you need for the decks in time to be relevant, for that particular format. And decks don't get to fully be fleshed out. You always see these initial builds of decks, and they look good, but as the time goes on, by the last 2 months of the format, the decks are at their peak fighting, shape, and they become a thing of beauty. And with these 3-month formats, I don't think we're going to see that anymore. I mean, look at some of the old prophecy builds, the priestessless prophecy builds, and how refined they became by the end of the March 13th format. Remember how refined those decks were by nationals, and by the time nationals was over, people just playing at locals and whatnot. How refined those builds were. Same with dragons, with the Dragon Shrine builds, Dragon Shrine and Dragon Ravine. Those builds are just completely refined than where they were right at the beginning of September, first part of October. I just don't think we're going to see that anymore. I think net decking will all of a sudden become even more prominent than usual, and I don't think that's a bad thing, because people that net deck, I should say in general, people that net deck do not have a proper understanding of why those cards are picked and the interactions and the thought processes that went into those card choices. Therefore, they won't perform as optimally as the person who originally came up with those ideas. There are the few people who can look at a deck list and say, okay, I understand, I see what they're doing here. But those kind of Yu-Gi-Oh! Extraordinaire type people are kind of hard to find, or limited, far between. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's going to be difficult. I just wanted to hear you guys' opinions on that. Do you really like the 3-month formats, and what are your thoughts on not being able to fully flesh out decks, not having the time to optimize your decks, not having the time to pick up cards before they become irrelevant by the next ban list? It's WK Dad and I'm out.